Joining us today on our Book Talk segment, great to welcome a woman who's written a book that's going to come out real soon. I believe January 1st is the drop date, but we're going to talk to her today. Hope you'll get an idea about it. It's called 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do. We're joined today by Amy Morin from up in the beautiful state of Maine today on telephone. And Amy, good to be with you. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to have a chance to chat with you. I had an opportunity to read through the book, and I guess this kind of stemmed from, unfortunately, a couple of things that happened in your personal life, but you wrote down these 13 things from those circumstances, right? Is that how it started?
Yeah, I had been through several losses in my life. My mother had passed away, and then my 26-year-old husband had passed away, both from unexpected and sudden circumstances. And then last year I found myself facing the terminal illness of my father-in-law. And unlike my last two losses, this time I knew what was coming, and I really dreaded it, and I found myself tempted to feel sorry for myself and think, why do these things always have to happen to me? So it was then that I sat down and I wrote my list to remind myself of the 13 things that mentally strong people don't do so that I could avoid those habits and pitfalls that we're all prone to sometimes.
Yeah, terrible at any age to go through loss, but particularly at such a young age, and all pretty much within, a very short span. Where did you find the strength to kind of come through that?
Well, I've been a therapist since 2002, right about just before when my mother had passed away. I had started working in the therapy world, and so it was a lot of the same skills that I was teaching other people. It was just a matter of applying those to my own life and to remember that it's not always just having good habits in life, but you also have to avoid the bad habits and some of the things that can hold us back. And it's also the things I'd seen in people, whether they were fighting depression or anxiety or just dealing with stress. And they'd come into my office, the people who didn't do those certain things, they got better much faster. So it's sort of a combination of taking things I'd learned from my life, what I'd learned from my education, and what I'd learned from other people, and putting it all together and figuring out how do I apply this.
Do you find in your practice, Amy, that there's more stress today than maybe years ago? It seems like it when you see the different TV shows and hear interviews on radio, what people are going through. It seems like there's a lot more of it today. I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe we're just hearing about it more.
Yeah, I think that probably is a little bit of both. I suspect that there is more things that are supposed to make our life easier, whether it be technology or we think smartphones make us able to stay connected more. But it also means we don't have as much downtime. We don't spend any time alone with our thoughts, those sorts of things. So that combined with financial issues and the economic crisis, I think certainly people are more stressed.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point there with all the technology and people feel, particularly with the social media and emailing and all that, they have to answer right away or be have to do things quicker. Whereas in the older days, not too long ago, you had a little more time to kind of think about things before you had to either answer somebody or get back with somebody. That adds a lot of stress in people's lives, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it does. And people, like you said, feel the need to reply immediately. I meet with plenty of people who sleep with their smartphone next to their bed and they're answering text messages at 2 in the morning, or they feel like they need to check their social media accounts just because what if somebody made a comment and I didn't reply? And so I think there's that need to always be connected really adds one more layer of stress in our lives.
Let's talk about some of the 13. Well, obviously we don't have time to go through all of them, but maybe a capsule of a couple of them. When you first wrote these down, I guess you did it originally in an article, right, or in a blog, but what was a couple of the first ones that you wrote down?
Yeah, the first one on the list was that mentally strong people don't feel sorry for themselves, which again stems from the point of where I was in my life, but as a reminder that we all have probably felt sorry for ourselves at one point or another. When something bad happens and you start to think this isn't fair and I deserve better, but it's a choice. We don't have to feel sorry for ourselves. No matter how bad things get, it could be worse, and so to remind ourselves of all the things we have to be grateful for. We're so fortunate just by living in the United States alone. We have so much more than most people in the world do, and if we really take time to focus on what we're grateful for, we can extinguish self-pity. You don't have to feel sorry for yourself.
Yeah, I think you make a good point there. I mean, in the book, reading through it, all the things that people do when things go wrong, that's okay in the short term, but you just can't keep that way, right? Keep being that way. Feeling sorry for yourself for a few minutes, that's just kind of human nature, but you have to get past that, right?
Absolutely. Nothing wrong with feeling sad or to be upset when something bad happens, but self-pity is really more about staying stuck there and dwelling on it.
You write a lot about change and trying not to avoid it or shying away from change. That's a tough one for pretty much everybody, isn't it? Depending, change can be different things to different people, but that's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we all have this tendency when we get comfortable that we want to stay there. And to step outside our comfort zone means doing something different, whether that be trying something new, or could be, for some people, doing just a small change to their routine. It can be quite anxiety-provoking. So to figure out, okay, how do I embrace change in life? Because if you don't ever do anything different, you're going to stay right where you are, and life isn't going to get better. So to figure out, how do I, even though it's scary and maybe it's uncomfortable, how do I do it anyway?
I thought the one that, number 11, alone time. Don't fear alone time. I think a lot of people are afraid just to, or at least uncomfortable being by themselves for too long a time. I guess that kind of ties back to the whole social media thing, too. People don't like to be alone too long, or at least a lot of people don't, right?
Yeah, if you take a look around, even people in line at the grocery store, they have their smartphones out, or at the doctor's office in the waiting room, that we don't like to be alone with our thoughts for more than 2 seconds, or people sleep with the TV on because they don't like the silence. I think that says a lot about our culture these days, about where we are, that we just want to be connected all the time and have constant noise so we don't have to think about anything. It sort of serves as a huge distraction from setting goals or reflecting on your life, those sorts of things that can really help us in life to make changes and move forward.
I think you need to have some of that alone time. I particularly feel it's necessary to think about things on your own. You need that to remain healthy, I think.
Absolutely. You have to take time out sometimes just to reflect and say, what's going on? How am I doing? And to dream about the future, whatever it might be. But yeah, I think we all definitely need a certain amount of alone time. And it's different for different people. Some people, I think, really enjoy alone time, but other people, it's uncomfortable. And I think plenty of people, especially I think moms these days, feel guilty about doing anything by themselves. It's
right.
Something that we shouldn't do. So I think to be able to give yourself permission to take time out is important.
When you first wrote this in your blog post, I guess you got a lot of feedback on it, a lot of emails, a lot of messages come to you right away when you first wrote these down?
Yeah, I wrote it down, I posted it to the web, and I sort of stepped away from my computer, and before I knew it, my inbox was flooded, and comments were coming in, and amazing things happened. In fact, the original website where it was posted, their website got shut down because they had so much traffic coming in.
Wow.
And then within a matter of days, Forbes had picked it up, and it reached 10 million views there. And then people told me things like, hey, Rush Limbaugh's talking about you right now. And somebody else said, going back to read your article on the air. And Fox News called. It was really amazing how quickly word spread once it went viral. It really went viral.
Now, originally, where did you post it? What website was it at?
It's called lifehack.org.
Okay. So that it got out there quick. It's amazing, isn't it? When you think how quickly things can take off, you almost wonder how that happens. And it's good in this case, but you wonder how it does it so quickly. But you definitely touched a nerve.
Yeah, apparently it did. It was amazing just to trace some of the times where it was spread on social media, or people who had read it, or somebody who said, hey, I saw your article 3 different places today. It was really amazing.
And this led to, obviously, you kind of fleshed it out in the book form, which what this is, 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do. So that led to, at that point, did you think, put it in a book form, or did you kind of think about it for a while? Or how did that come about?
Well, I started to get a lot of questions from people that said, okay, so these are the things that we don't do, but how do we not do that, and what do we do instead? And so that sort of led to some ideas about, people really want to hear more about this, and they want to know more, and how do you tell them the rest of the story? So I feel like the original article sort of gave people the outline of, well, don't do these things, but the book really expands and says, okay, here's how to avoid those things, and here's some information on how to do things differently. How do you replace those bad habits with much healthier ones? And so I feel like I'm glad I had an opportunity to write the book, because I feel like the book tells the rest of the story.
I like how you lay it out chapter by chapter, but you tell some good anecdotes along the way. I think that's important whenever you're doing a book like this, kind of a self-help book, to tell stories of other people that have gone through similar things. So you found some good stories.
Yeah, and a lot of people told me their stories, which was just an incredible experience, and people had read the article. They came to me and said, hey, Amy, I've got to tell you my story, or listen to this thing that I've heard from somebody else, or whatever it might be, but it just really made it come to life for me, and so I really wanted to share some of those stories with other people so they could see mental strength in action.
The name of the book is 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do. We've been talking with Amy Morin today, and as we said, it comes out officially on 1st of January, published by William Morrow. And Amy, do you have a website you want to direct people to? I know they can probably get the book anywhere. You can also get it at our site here. We'll post a box for it, but you want to give it a website?
Sure. My personal website, amymorinlcsw.com, as in licensed clinical social worker. On there you can find all sorts of information about the book and all the stores that are selling it as well.
Great. Amy, pleasure to talk to you. Good luck with the book, and hopefully we can talk to you again sometime. But thanks for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
If you'd like to order the book we're talking about, please go to DougMilesMedia.com and enter the author's name in the Amazon search box. Thank you for listening. Please come back soon for more conversations here at DougMilesMedia.